I'm not related to Cat Matlala. Cat Matlala and my wife share a surname. Sibongo Fanana. There are a lot of people like that. That's why I said to him in that prison, jokingly, that when he was trying to define his relationship with the head of Hawks in KZN, I'm forgetting his name, he said, it's like a brother to me. Actually, his wife is a cousin. No, not a cousin. Actually, his wife, what will I say? His wife and me share the same surname. And I said to him, at the rate you're going to call me your cousin. And he said, yeah, you are my cousin. But I'm not. And my wife is not related to Cat Matlala. And the definition of Cat Matlala, of where they come from Nebo, the Skukuni side. My wife's Matlalas don't come from Skukuni side. There are two Matlalas. They are the ones of Skukuni. They are the ones of Amatlala. Amatlala Taba. That side of Mashashani. Most people around there, they are actually Ndebeles, who are now who convert into Pedi-speaking people to an extent that they even converted their surname, Bo Jonas Gwangwa. So the ones that didn't want to call themselves Gwangwa, they changed and called themselves Kwakwa. But they are Gwangwas. So that's the side where my wife comes from. So there's no any relation. But your pettiness could not move me. Now there is a guy who looks after me now. You see this guy behind the wife of Cat Matlala. That picture you used and said Matlala's bodyguards or protectors were looking after Malema's wife, and you put the cat's wife with a bodyguard and you say, that's my wife. That's not my wife. The guy in that picture now works for the EFF. So the thing with protectors is that they move from one place to the other. They rotate, so we can't be held accountable for such a nonsense. But we have nothing against, we have got nothing to do with Matlala. And that's why I was there at the prison. I asked him questions. And I did so without being shaken or any other thing. I took a decision when I went to Matlala's thing to be psychological in my approach and to speak to his conscience with an hope and aim that I can break him, that when you speak to his soul and conscience, he will be able to say, look man, this is not right, because Matlala might not have had anyone who spoke to him the way I did his entire life. Oremagai, what is this now? Like, why are you doing what you are doing? That's why I had to say to him, speak to Jerry's mom. He struggled. And he thought he's going to evade that thing. And I said, this is my time, it's not your time. You are going to speak to Jerry's mom. Because psychologically, I thought in the conversation with the mother, the way it is, the conscience might kick in and he's able to break and say, no man, I have to just accept my wrongdoings. What is conscience? You ought to live here knowing it. Is that thing that Julius Malema did at Madlanga Commission, where the lies are in conflict with conscience. You start sweating. Because this one brain is going against itself. They are going the opposite direction, but there's one brain. Okay, you think Julius Malema, because he's current, maybe I'm being opportunistic. You remember the national chairperson of MKP, Ntlego?
Yes.
What is his name? Nkosi Nati Ntlego. When his conscience had to declare a swimming pool a fire pool, you remember he was sweating. He was also fire pool. That's conscience. When you do those things of competency tests, they put things on your fingers and then make you sit on some chair and all of that. They call it what?
Polygraph.
Polygraph. They make you sit there and then they start asking you questions. You must sit, so even under your feet, they put some equipment. You must answer honestly, because if you don't, conscience kicks in. And someone was telling me a story that when they put him through the competency, and then they asked him the same question 3 times, and the conscience came back that now he has to confess, or it's true. But he said no. Instead of saying yes, this finger stood up. This one, he just found his finger up like this. And then he knew, no, he's gone. I don't know, if I had anything, I was going to cut this finger. I don't want it anymore. It just stood like this. He didn't give it a permission to stand. That's what I wanted to do to Matlala. You approach different scenarios with different approach. And being a student of psychology, I know that myself. That's why you try to play psychological games with me. I know this one is taking chances and it's not going to get to me because I know this game. So I was trying that. To an extent, I succeeded because Jerry's mom sent me a message and thanked me. And thanked me and said, for the first time, I felt represented. That what I've been longing for, that someone should hold this guy accountable about my son. It happened today and I'm happy. If I can make one African mother happy, you guys, I know I will never do anything to please you. That's where we stand, Somlom. Thank you.